Hey, my wonderful people, this is Hugo Fashion, and today we are going to learn how to make the shoulder dart bustier pattern. And for this pattern, I'm going to make use of the bodice pattern. Then I will now show you the way to make the shoulder dart bustier out of it. So if you like this tutorial, please subscribe. You can share and as well give it a thumbs up. And if you have any question, you can put it in the comment section. Thank you. The measurement I'll be using for this tutorial is shoulder to nipple point is 10, shoulder to under bust is 13, then shoulder to half length is 17. Then the total circumference of my bust, I mean the nipple point, is 36. Total circumference for under bust is 30, and that of the half length is 30 as well. Then I'll make use of my nipple to nipple, that's 7 inches. Then the shoulder too is 15. So that's all we need for this tutorial. So to start with, I said I'm going to use my bodice pattern. So to start with, I'll measure the half length. The half length is 17. Then I'll add 1 inch extra to it. And I'll chalk it out. I'm going to use this upper part for the shoulder. So now from there, I'll determine my nipple point. That's 10 inches. That is from shoulder to my nipple point, 10 inches. To my under bust is 13 inches. So I will rule those two out as well. Sorry, I forget to mention that I folded the fabric into two. Fabric is into two, and this is for the front side of it. So after all these lines, I'll come back to my shoulder, then measure my shoulder circumference, which is 7.5. That is 15 divided by 2. I'll come back to my bust point and measure my nipple point total circumference, which is 36. For that 36, our body part is divided into 4, so I'll divide it into 4. That's 36 divided by 4, which will give me 9. I'll chalk out my 9. Then come back to the under bust as well. The circumference of my under bust is 30. So 30 divided by 4 will give me 7.5. For my half length as well, the circumference there too is 30, so that will give me 7.5 as well. I divided all of them by 4. So this is the shape I'm going to have at the end of everything. I told you, like I said in some of my videos, this part is not, our body part is not sharp. We used to have this puff shape, so that's why sure there is 4 there. So after that, I will add extra allowance of 2 inches. That's for my sewing allowance. Then I will come back to my shoulder, measure 7 inches. That's for the armhole. Then connect it back to the shoulder. So I already have a video on this particular bodice pattern. So if you don't really get this, you can check the video. So after that, now to do my straight bustier, I'll measure my nipple to nipple, which is 7. That is 7 divided by 2. That's 3.5. So I will chalk out 3.5. From my nipple point down to the half length, like so. Then from there, I'll come out with ½ inch. Then from my under bust, please take note of what I'm doing. From my under bust, I link to that ½ inch. Then from this side, I'll measure 2.5. Then link this to it. I first measure my nipple point, come out with 1/2 inch from that nipple point. Then I measure 2.5 here as well. Then I chop this one to it. So after that, I'll measure another 2 inches here. As you can see, I measure 2 inches here as well. Then, we now have 2 inches distance from these two. So it will remain 1.5 here. So this 1.5 is what I'm going to chop to this level. So it's going to be like so. Trying to make it bold so that you can see. I want the chalk to really show on it. So now, the next thing I'll do is, if you check this line, this is not up to our normal measurement again. So what I'll do is, now the measurement here is short already. I've removed 2 from here that this part divided. So now these 2 that I removed here, I will add it back to my allowance. I added 2 inches extra allowance when I was cutting the bodice pattern. So now the 2 inches here, I will add it back to my measurement. Now after this, I will just measure 3.5 inch for my shoulder. I've used up all the allowance I have here, so I'll just come down here by 7 for my armhole shape. Don't worry, I'll cut it out so you will see what I did here. I'm not making use of these lines again. This is just for the normal bodies, but this pattern is going to consume more fabric than this normal body. So now the extra, I've cut out the 2 inches in between the 2 and the extra I have here. So this is what I'm able to achieve at the end of everything. So the next thing to do now is to, this is my under bust measurement. I will not cheat because they must align whenever I'm sewing in order to get my bust measurement, my bustier measurement. My bustier shape, they must align like so. They're going to be like this. So now here at this upper part, what I will do now is I will remove half here because of our armhole, because of our shoulder shape is not straight, it's slant. So I'll remove half here. Then for my neckline, I'll come down by 6 inches, depending on your choice, depending on how you want it. Then I'll use 3.5 because I don't like it too wide. I don't want it to be too wide. So this is for my front part. So the next thing now is I'll go and cut the back. Now for the back body, I'll first remove 2 inches for my zip allowance. Then I'll measure the length of the top, which is 17 inches. That's the half length measurement, 17 inches. Then extra 1 inch sewing allowance. I'll chop it out. I'll measure my nipple point and the under bust. The nipple point is 10 and the under bust is 13. Chop that one out as well. Then I'll measure the shoulder circumference, which is 15 divided into 2, that's 7.5. So I'll come down by 7 inches and connect it back to the shoulder measurement. Like I said in my video, in one of my videos, how to measure for the armhole. just chalk 4.5 here, then come in from this edge, from this sharp edge, come in with 1 inch, just cut it out like so. Then after that, I'll measure the total circumference of my nipple point. Please note, I'm not using this zip allowance. I started from where the zip allowance ended. That's 9 inches. So that's 36 divided by 4. That's 9 inches. So I measure the 9 inches. On my under bust, I measure 30 inches, which is the total circumference of my under bust. That's 30 divided by 4. That's 7.5. Here too, the half length too is 30. That's 30 divided by 4. That's 7.5 as well. And I connected the lines together. Then I added sewing allowance of 2 inches and connect it like so. Then for this armhole, because it's not going to be straight, our armhole cannot be like this. So I'll come with this my bust measurement. I'll just add 1 inch extra for the armhole shape. I'll do likewise this side. So this is how it's going to be. That's for the back. Then for our dart, our nipple to nipple, the nipple to nipple in this measurement is 7. So 7 will be divided into 2. That's 3.5 inches. So I will chalk that to the nipple point, then add 2 inches up. So it's going to reach that 2 inches up. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Then on this side, I'll come out with ½ inch here to ½ inch, then link the lines together on a triangular shape. That's for the back. Then the neckline, because for the front I use 3.5 inches, so the same thing must apply to the back. You can't use different neckline measurements for them. Just the length at which you want it to come down can change, but this width must be the same thing. So now this one, now it can come down with any length you want. So now, because I don't want it to be too down, I'll use only 1 inch. Just cut it out and show you. Now I'm done cutting. The next thing is to subtract ½ here for my shoulder, because our shoulder is not straight. I'll subtract ½ here and slant it to this edge. ½ here, then slant it to this edge. Then open up the zip side. So I'll just notch this place. So whenever I'm sewing, I'll be able to identify where my zip allowance is starting from. So this for the back. Thank you, the back. I've sewn the dart of it.